Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Bandits Show. Joined back by Luke again. And for the first time since episode 1, Paul Bennett's joining us.
I should get money for that.
Got something special. We're going to be predicting the NFL awards for the year. See if any of us are mystics. Not like Chris, the QB whisperer. So I think I'm going to start with the rookie awards. I'll go to Luke. Do you want to start with your offensive rookie of the year?
So my offensive rookie, I've probably gone a bit of a curveball and a bit out there. I've gone DeAndre Swift for the Detroit Lions, running back, taken third in the second round, 35 overall. The sort of running back class didn't go as high as it normally does. I mean, I know we had, I think it was one or two in the first. I think it was just one in the first, and he just dipped out of that first round. But it's obviously just a pure prediction point of view. We don't have a clue what this play is going to look like. We have no idea. But I feel like the Lions will have a bit of a resurgent season. I think Matt Stafford will have a good year. It'll be his second year with his OC. And I think they'll have a decent year. They've been crying out for a running game for a number of years, and it always seems to
25 years.
Yeah.
25 years since Barry Sanders went.
Yeah. It's basically the thing that always feels like it's holding that offense back, because I'm a big fan of Matt Stafford, and I think he's an elite QB in the league, and he just never seemed to have that run game to lean on. So, yeah, I'm going to go with DeAndre Swift.
He can bring something new to the Lions. The Lions have been lacking for a while.
Yeah.
But again, they're in a tough division. It could be like Josh Jacobs for the Raiders last year. Tough division. They weren't winning that many games, but still stealing the show for their team.
That's solid, yeah. I think running back lends itself a little bit for to sort of hit the ground running, obviously not literally, but I feel like you always seem to, like tight ends, they always seem to struggle year one. Whether that's down to the more blocking assignments and things of that nature. But I always feel like running backs, if they're going to be good, they start early and take off.
Surprised you didn't go for a first rounder. No, Joe
I
Burrow.
know, well, I want it to be a bit out there. I didn't want to put it's not always first rounders who win these awards. Like, what was it, Darius Leonard? What round was he? Was he 5? And he won Defensive Player of the Year. So I couldn't just pick 2 first rounders.
I have.
Yeah.
Paul's picked 1 and 2.
With that one, let's go. Paul, what have you got for your offensive rookie?
Well, everybody must be thinking Joe Burrow, because they're not as bad as they make out, the Bengals. But it's our position, isn't it? Really our position. I really like the CD Lamb signing for Dallas. His problem may be touches, because they've got so many ball players there. So that's why I didn't pick him, but he really, really will. I think he'll do really well with them, with all the other players that they've got. But running back, and it was a luxury pick for Kansas City, because this is the guy that, as Luke said, it's a position that is easier to make an immediate impact as a rookie. And they've got absolute weapons all over that field. They've got the Mahomes there, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. Who are you going to put on Clyde Edwards-Helaire? He's going to get so many opportunities there. I'd be surprised if he doesn't get it.
Yeah. Could look like another Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, he doesn't even have to be that. He doesn't even have to be that, because there's just going to be holes everywhere, isn't there? You're going to have your safeties deep. You're going to have plenty of secondary in there, and they're pretty good, aren't they? They're pretty good anyway. They haven't really lost anybody.
Imagine how happy he was going to the Chiefs with Kelce, Tyreek Hill, Mahomes. If he's good enough, and if he's too good, then he won't play with Mahomes for the rest of his career, because they won't be able to pay him. But if he's
Yeah.
that sort of level of player where they can afford him in 4 or 5 years, he's probably going to play his whole career with Mahomes and do very well from it.
The thing with running backs is because they tend to be a little bit cheaper and they have quite a short expected shelf life. Adrian Peterson is like, and Frank
He's a big outlier in that.
Yeah, the throwbacks.
They're just
throwbacks.
Different breed.
Yeah, the 1980s running backs, aren't they? Yeah. Who are still playing. But now you'll plug and play someone for 3 or 4 years, and when the rookie deal's up, you'll draft someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of make a big impact for a short time and then.
Yeah, look at you've got Bell, players like that. Once they get to Gurley, they get to that big contract stage, you pay them, and they end up getting burnt, don't they?
It's not just paying.
Draft someone else.
Running backs, there's not been a good deal for a running back yet. Obviously, McCaffrey was paid in the off season, but up to now, there hasn't been a running back paid that's put 1 or 2 years where you think, all right, that was worth it. Like Zeke's not been what he was before he got paid, and Gurley obviously hasn't been the same. Bell's not been what he was. So, and I mean, it's not easy to find a replacement, but like you pick up players like Austin Eckler, who's now been paid by the Chargers, who's an undrafted free agent. You've got players like Alvin Kamara, who went, I think, in the 3rd round. You get these running backs all over the place, and you can replace them a lot easier. You can find them in later rounds.
It's a passing league, isn't it? So, with all the money being invested in tackles, receivers, tight ends, and quarterbacks, the value of the running back potentially has dropped. Although a great running back will win you a Super Bowl.
Yeah. I mean, Derrick Henry just got paid not long ago.
Was that this off-season?
Yeah, it looked like they weren't going to pay him because they franchise tagged him at first, and then they have paid.
But if he was a quarterback, playing at that level as a quarterback, they'd have paid him without a second consideration.
Yeah. Well, they paid Ryan Tannehill, haven't they, before they paid him?
Yeah, they've really paid Ryan Tannehill. That was.
Yeah. I mean, he
played a little bit salty there, then.
No, I'm really not. I'm happy for him, but I don't think he's that quarterback. I've said before, I don't think he's the quarterback to take anyone to a Super Bowl.
It depends on the system, doesn't it? I mean, at Miami, it perhaps wasn't his system, but behind a good ground game and an offensive line that can give him some time, he was very good last year.
He was, but I also have to point out he threw, was it 3 playoff games, and he also had probably a combined 400 yards over 3 playoff games.
I don't think it was 400, but I actually think it was less. And I think the majority of them yards actually came when they were down big against the Chiefs and they were having to throw to get back in it. He threw some at daft like 89 yards to the Patriots, but it's one of those things, isn't it?
I mean, if you don't have to, you could then just keep a quarterback for years and years and years without wear and tear on them.
Yeah. He did his job at the end of the day last year. He did what Mariota wasn't doing, which is protect the ball. Good play action that was great in Tennessee last year.
Yeah.
We have really gone off on a tangent here.
I was just going to say,
Raiders in there.
I've got my offensive rookie of the year. I've Tua.
Of course. I would have been disappointed if you'd have said anything else.
I debated going for Joe Burrow because Joe Burrow is going to start week 1. And I feel like that's probably the advantage that he has. But I feel like this is it. Tua is healthy. He's been cleared by all medical doctors. There's no time.
No pre-season games. Only just going down into training camp. Complete rookie.
Who's week 1 then? Who's week 1?
We've got the Patriots week 1.
Where?
At Foxborough.
Oh, he's travelling up to Foxborough first game.
Fitzpatrick's going to do it. He's going to do what he did last time. He's going to go in and he's going to beat them.
Is Fitz starting the year then?
So, yeah, it seems like Fitz is going to start. If we had a pre-season, I reckon Tua may have started.
Yeah, you'd have seen Tua in a number of those games. Definitely. But it's a shame, really. It's probably not done him any favours not having a pre-season. Some players probably not affected them, but the quarterbacks, it's always nice to get in. And
the teams with the most stability will do better.
They've set everything up well for him. He's got Devontae Parker had a breakout year last year. Looks like he's going to be his number one pick. They've restructured the offensive line, and they've got 2 solid running backs that should help carry a load for him. He's just got to pop in them big moments, which, if his college career is anything to go off, he can really pop when he wants.
The thing is, the quarterback, I know we talked about running backs sort of lending themselves a little bit to starting fast. Quarterbacks don't have to have great years to win it. They don't need as good a year as a running back to win it. It's a little bit in a way like MVP and what have you. It's like, if no one's really popped, it's like, let's give it a quarterback. So, and to be honest, I don't think Herbert will play much next year. I think he'll play less than 8 games. It's just basically Tua versus Joe Burrow, unless someone like the 2 guys we spoke of. Really,
I think if Herbert was starting, then I'd lean towards Herbert.
Yeah,
high IQ quarterback, and he's got probably the best.
Got some serious weapons. Yeah, it's just his whole line, really.
Yeah.
They strengthened their whole line to an extent, but I still think one side is still pretty weak. I think they want to give Tyrod a little go from what I've
Plus,
heard.
the Chargers only ever start playing in October anyway. They don't turn up in September.
Tyrod might carry the ship till October and get them a couple wins, and then might be the young kids' time to shine.
Yeah.
I'll go reverse. My defensive player of the year, I was gonna go Chase Young, in the same way that Nick Bosa made a massive impact last year, surrounded by other great tackles. But I think I'm going. Is it Isaiah Simmons who was drafted by the Cardinals?
Yeah, I had him at 2.
Yeah, all-around player, and I feel like a team that's going to look really fun all year round, he can really shine on, because it might not have the highest skill, level of skill. He might break out of the mold a bit more, really stand out.
He's in a solid team to start with, isn't he?
Yeah.
The only issue possibly with it is potentially the lack of position and lack of pre-season may hinder him. Because obviously they'll have a set idea where they want him to play, but I think initially that was a question mark. Is he linebacker? Is he sort of big roaming safety? And like you're saying, the Arrows sort of fun team with good offense, and because they have got a potentially high-powered offense that could lend itself to Simmons, the defense is just going to be there to make big plays and try and send the ball over when they can, and that could work out well for him.
That sort of positionless thing might be why he dropped so far down in the draft, because he was expected to go top 5.
Yeah, everyone had him at 4 to the Giants, didn't they?
That's my pick. I feel like he's just going to make an impact from day one.
I had him at 2. I think he'll go well this year.
Yeah, but again, another person going into a really tough division, which is the problem. He faces
probably the best. It's the best. It's the best division in football.
Yeah,
he's going to have to cover George Kittle twice a year, which is going to be a tough job for him.
Well, George Kittle just got paid today, didn't he?
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he's got an extension. He's got a 5-year extension.
Wow.
75 million.
Worth it.
So the new Gronk's around for a while in San Fran.
Yeah, which is crap for a Rams fan.
Yeah, so continuing our reverse order, Paul.
Yeah, well, I had it the other way to you. I went Simmons and then I thought Young. The thing is, football teams' front 7, or certainly the defensive line, is pretty good. So he's going into a good rotation. The offense is pretty poor, so they're going to spend a lot of time on the field. And a big thing for somebody to win a Rookie of the Year is to be a big name. So because he was the first defensive player picked, everybody's going to be looking at him. So he's going to get an awful lot of highlight reel if he performs. So he's in prime position, and that's always a big thing. So if he has a decent season, he'll do well in that contest. And there's a lot of players, the Sweat, Alan Payne, Ryan Anderson's coming through a little bit. Ryan Kerrigan's still there. So they've got a really good rotation there. So he doesn't have to do everything all the time. I think he'll make an impact.
And he's just acquired a great defensive coach in Ron Rivera.
Yeah, and Del Rio as well.
Yeah,
who's not going to sit back and do what we've done for the past 4 years, which is just let teams rush for and let teams pick us apart.
Yeah, but Ron Rivera builds solid defenses. I mean, even last year he had a solid defense and Carolina looked all right until injuries came in.
Yeah.
Who's your definitely been Nick Bosa from last year.
I think
surrounded by talent, and then he can just break through and get what he needs to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to go Chase Young for basically the same reasons we've just touched on. Like, he's on an unbelievable line. He's a high-profile player. He's going to be on the field a lot. I've gone again a little bit of a curveball. I've gone Derek Brown for the Carolina Panthers. I think from what I've seen and what I've heard, he seems like he's going to be a good player. I feel like he could hit the ground running. Again, like we said about running backs, I think the D linemen always seem to sort of lend themselves to starting quick. I think similar to Nick Bosa, obviously Aaron Donald a couple of years ago was the same. I don't know, I've just got a little bit curveball, throw someone's name out. I was umming and ahhing, like I said, with Chase Young, but I thought I'd just talk about someone different.
Yeah.
That's your right. You're right to be wrong.
Well, Carolina have just
not very good.
Reset rather than rebuild, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, it's
new coach, 7 defensive players drafted, and then ready to try and compete next year.
The Panthers will be good this year. I don't think I've seen some people putting them at like 2-14, and I just think you've got Christian McCaffrey, who is the best running back in football, arguably. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater's a solid quarterback. We spoke about him in past episodes. There's a lot of sort of pieces that, all right, I don't think they're going to the Super Bowl, but I think we've got a good team.
They're a 5-win team, aren't they?
Yeah. I think it seems like the problem with a lot of the things, like a lot of teams this year, is that they're just in a division with 2 other good teams. They've got the Saints and the Bucs in their division.
I think the
Falcons aren't exactly too shabby. You know, they've got
it's pretty similar in a way to the West. There's sort of 4 solid teams, and unfortunately, one of the teams is going to probably come unstuck in divisional games, and so they're going to fall down. And in a similar way that we had like the Packers last year, who were not, were they 13-3? They weren't a 13-3 team. They weren't that good. You could have
the Packers were 8-1 in games that were decided by 1 score, including 2 games against the Lions that they stole.
Yeah, well, I think your brother mentioned that they were leading for about a minute over those 2 games, something crazy like that. It
was 0 seconds actually.
Oh, was it actually 0 seconds?
They kicked game-winning field goals as the clock went.
I mean, like I said, going back to the sort of other end of the spectrum, you could have a team in the West and a team in the South that are not actually a 5-11 team or 4-12 team. They're actually more like an 8-8, but they've just come unstuck in a couple of divisional games. But that's just the nature of the divisions and how it's set up.
Yeah, I mean, you've obviously said in past weeks that you don't think the Bucs are that much to be feared.
No, I don't think so. No, I mean, don't get me wrong. Brady's there, Gronk's there. But I mean,
Three great
Brady,
receivers.
McCoy. I mean, the receivers is the big thing. I don't know. I'm a little bit more like skeptical. Like I'm a little bit like I was about the Browns. I'll believe it when I see it. If they come out and they're 3-0 after 3 games and they're flying and they look good, then fine. But at the minute, I'm just a little bit like they've not done anything. They were a 7-9 team last year, and you've traded away a gunslinger quarterback. Yeah, all right, who's thrown 30 picks, but Brady isn't going to throw for 5,000 yards next year. So
Doesn't need to.
You lose yards on the field. So
he won't need to.
We'll see.
He won't need to because he'll score, and because he scores, they won't have to keep getting the ball and driving deep.
Well, no, probably not.
They'll go all right.
I think they'll be all right. I've said I think I had them 9-7 when we did our divisional predictions. But I don't think they'll be. I think the Saints are still the kings of the South.
To be fair, I feel like 9-7's the place a lot of people have put them. I think.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like people are talking up like they're going to the Super Bowl and they're going to win it, and I'm like, no.
They'll find the form later than we all think. They probably could have done with a pre-season themselves.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not as out on the Bucks as Chris is. Chris is really out on the Bucks. He's just out on Brady. Chris would be starting jousting him in the New England if they're both still
there. Right, we can move on to the next award. We're going to go Offensive Player of the Year.
Who's going first?
Come on, Luke. We'll keep circling back round.
I always like being in the middle.
I'm going with Christian McCaffrey. He was well on pace to do it last year, and I think he just sort of tailed out towards the end. And obviously, Michael Thomas had a great year, but I think it's only time will tell. He will eventually win an Offensive Player of the Year because I think he is that good, and I think this is the year he'll do it because I think the offense is going to have to lean on him a lot with Teddy there. The receivers are still a little bit young. They're fairly new, 2- and 3-year receivers. They're not established receivers in the league, and I think they'll just massively lean on McCaffrey again, like they have done. And I think it's his year. I think he'll go 1,000 again, and I think he'll do it.
I think he is the Carolina Panthers now.
Yeah, he's the face of the franchise. That's why I'm paid him third place.
And I have him in the same position. Might as well reveal that now. Just for the same reasons, I feel like he's an absolute game changer.
He's fun to watch as well.
I was watching Red Zone last year, and you're just like, oh, they've got the Patriots game, and Brady's meticulously driving down the field for 10 minutes, and out like 2 times in those 10 minutes it cuts, and Christian McCaffrey's ran for 60 yards to the end zone twice.
Yeah, flipping over people into the end zone. Like I say, I think he just sort of tailed off last year. I think he was well on pace for it. But he didn't tail off with his numbers. His numbers were still solid and still worthy of winning it. I think nearer to the end of the season when the votes start was when he needed to be hitting that elite form, whereas it felt like weeks 1 to 6 were when he was really electric.
It's because he was on a poor side.
Yeah. Well, that doesn't help either. If you're on a team, if you're on a poor side in the league, you don't tend to win the war.
No, he was on a poor side, and somebody was on an excellent side, and really went for. Well, there's a couple of players who.
He broke a lot of records as well, Thomas, didn't he? With his receptions and what have you, and 100-yard games and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. We're talking about the best of the best, aren't we? Yeah. And to be the 3rd or 4th best of the best isn't bad, is it?
No, I mean he was in the conversation. I think he's been in the conversation a lot.
He'd have had votes. He'd have definitely had votes for it last year.
I mean, he'd have probably had MVP votes if it wasn't for, Lamar Jackson.
Yeah,
well,
funnily enough.
Nice
is that a segue into yours?
That's a segue. You're talking probably the most talented team in the league with the best roster is the Ravens, and I just think he's pretty special, Jackson. And I think with keeping the offensive coordinator, if they'd lost the offensive coordinator, may not have done, but he's very good at building around him. And I just think he's a special athlete.
Yeah.
They've got continuity as well. Loads of continuity. And that will really help this season more than any other. Yeah, I think you'll see more teams, because it's like a 50% chance, isn't there, for a playoff team not to go back the following year. But I think we'll see more teams returning to the playoffs this season than for quite a few seasons, because continuity is really key with a very shortened off season.
Yeah, I've said before, you don't see it's not that often that you see a 13, 14 win team actually get better in the off season, and they've made the right moves to actually get better.
They have. They look really good. I say they look
running back.
Right.
That's someone.
Did they draft a running back? Yeah, you think
sure
Lamar Jackson, mate?
I'm sure they drafted a running back. Let me pull up the draft.
I feel like
the MVP one was quite easy, wasn't it?
If Lamar has a season even similar to last year, he's winning MVP. I don't think he's going to be in that talk of offensive.
Yeah, they took J.K. Dobbins, just to interrupt you, Ben.
J.K. Dobbins, all right.
Yeah. That was my second guy for offensive rookie of the year.
So you just had to look up on the internet for who you thought was going to win the offensive rookie of the year. Oh dear.
Yeah, to be fair, when I was thinking about the offensive player of the year, I did sort of think Lamar. I was sort of umming and ahhing about him, but I decided to go with McCaffrey. It's a little bit of a strange award, really, because if a quarterback wins it, then chances are he's won MVP. And if any other position wins it, then chances are they were playing at an MVP level, but they didn't want to give the MVP to that player, so they just give him the offensive player of the year. Like it happened to Gurley. I think Brady won MVP that year, and it was just crazy. Gurley was absolutely amazing and should have won MVP, but they very rarely give it to non-quarterbacks.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've read something like it's only ever gone to 3 defensive players. A wide receiver has never actually won.
I don't very often win awards, do they? I know obviously Michael Thomas, but it's been a long time since, I think it was Jerry Rice, the last receiver to win Offensive Player of the Year.
I think considering
wide receivers sell tickets. Yeah. We sell tickets and are highly entertaining, but they don't win awards the same.
No.
The wide receiver player that we have, I think we should actually consider some of them, to be honest. You know, I mean, if some of this was back in, some of the wide receivers that we have now were around 20, 30 years ago, they'd have been winning MVPs all the time.
I think Mike Evans is probably one of the in a good slot to do it in Tampa.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah. So, can move on to the one I struggled with was Defensive Player of the Year. I couldn't think of really anyone to get to.
I can. 2 players.
Go on then, Paul.
2 players. You want playmakers. You want people who can play in the box. People who can range around the back. People who you can scheme things up for. And they're the people who play at your back end, aren't they? So I really think Minka Fitzpatrick stands a good chance, but I really fancy Derwin James.
Well, that was it. I forgot about him. Traitor.
But he's been an absolute revelation, though. And I think Derwin James, coming off his injury, will be too. It could be either of them two.
I think it's one of them awards that gets overlooked. Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
Obviously,
does it go to the sack leader?
League.
Yeah, sack leader.
It's all DBs really struggle to win that award. They have to have like ridiculous stats to win it.
There's a new breed though. This new breed of like your hybrid safety, isn't there? That are coming up, and I don't know. I think those two, the way that the league's looking at these players now, particularly with the tight ends, and if they can guard the dominant tight ends as well, Yeah, it could be wrong. He could just be an edge rusher again, couldn't he? Who gets 14 sacks, 15 sacks.
There's a player for Arizona who said he's going to try and break the sacks record this year. Is it
Chandler Jones.
Yeah.
Said he could. It was so weird how he worded it. He said,
Well, did he not try last year?
Well, yeah, that was how he said it. He was like, "I'll probably just like do it this year," like, and it was like, "Why have you not done it every year you've been in league?" The way it was just strange how he worded it.
Like he's been holding it in. He's just been waiting for the right moment to break it.
Yeah. Stop doing that.
Yeah, I can't do that. He's give up on a couple and let other people do it.
Yeah, I'd won it last year, but I thought I'll let someone else have a go and then we only won 9 games. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's only talk, isn't it? They're just trying to generate people to chat about.
I think Minka Fitzpatrick, he's fantastic. I don't think I've not
safety to win it.
Come on, Ben, say it how it is.
Every single time I've ever watched him play, I think he steals attention away from everything else.
And that's
everything
where
he does is great.
Player of the year comes.
Yeah,
defensive player of the year comes from that, because you just want to watch him and he's everywhere. Where's the ball? Oh, there he is. Where's the ball? There he is. Wherever it is, he's there.
He was stuck in a place that he hated, and he's gone to somewhere that he clearly likes, and he's playing like he enjoys football again.
Well, look at the kit. It's a lovely kit.
Very underrated last year. Again, though, it goes back to a poor side. They were a poor team last year, and that
they were a good side with a poor quarterback.
Yeah.
If you didn't have to drop your DBs on 10 yards, it was easy, wasn't it?
Who's your defensive player, Ben?
My defensive player, this is what I legitimately could not think of one. I can just chuck out a random name. Let's go Aaron Donald. He always seems to win something, doesn't he?
I've got Aaron Donald. He's having a
bit of a down year, didn't he, last year? Let's give him another.
The thing is, and I don't really think he didn't so much have a down year as just didn't put up the same number of sacks. And I know that sounds stupid. Well, obviously have a down year, but I don't mean he was still just as effective, and he was still just as disruptive, and he was still such a big part of the LA defense. It's just that he didn't put up them same sort of gaudy numbers. I mean, he was at one point the second year he won Defensive Player of the Year. I don't think he was far off potentially breaking the sack record. With about 5 games to go, he was into the shout, and the sacks just dried up a little bit. But yeah, I've gone Donald. I think for me, he's the best defensive player in football. If he wants to wreck a game, he'll wreck a game, and if he plays to his capabilities, then I think he wins it.
I think 2 years ago, you could have easily made a shout that Aaron Donald should have got some MVP votes.
Yeah,
because he was. I think it was like he was 11. He was on 11 sacks or something when I read the stat, and he was double covered on 70% of his plays.
Oh, it's crazy the amount offenses put into him and how they skew against him,
and he might find himself in more situations where he's now double covered, triple covered, and it's other people that are getting the stats. But
that's what happens. Like last year, Clay Matthews, I think, finished on like 5 sacks, and Clay Matthews is not very good anymore. Same with Dante Fowler. The amount of sacks he gets for other players is crazy. Like, he'll push the pocket, he'll move this player, he'll move that player. The QB moves and just falls into the rams sometimes. I know Chris Sims, a few years ago, I listened to his podcast with Adam Lefkoe. I don't know if either of you listened to it. And they used to always talk about players who they used to call it the fuck the play up stat. So they used to give a shout out every week for a guy that doesn't get any credit, usually big D linemen, big DTs.
Yeah. Interior D linemen.
Give them credit, you type of like Chris Jones, Fletcher Cox, Aaron Donald, Geno Atkins, all these sort of defensive tackles and interior D linemen that mess up plays, play after play, but they don't get a sack or they don't get a tackle for a loss. And some edge guy gets it, or some linebacker gets a pass defended, and it's massively on those players. And They are starting to get recognised. I think those players are starting. I mean, they're starting to get paid, and people are appreciating them massively.
Yeah, it goes a lot under the radar. The extra things that are done to get other players stats.
Yeah.
So, I suppose this only applies for anyone watching the video format, but we have had to record on 2 separate days to get this done due to some technical issues. But we're back to finish off the video. And we're going to start with Comeback Player of the Year. We're going to go to Luke.
Well, we did a Comeback Player of the Year when we were doing our hot takes, bold takes, however we want to call it. And I came out with Cam Newton to the Steelers. Obviously, he's not at the Steelers, but I'm going to stick with Cam Newton for Comeback Player of the Year. I mean, it's a difficult one to guess because what decides if they've come back from, like, how many games you have to miss? Do you have to miss the whole year? Do you have to miss half the year? But yeah, I'm going to go with Cam. I think who knows what he's going to be like at the Patriots. The Patriots have lost a lot of players due to opting out for the season, so they are a massive question mark. They've still got arguably the best coach ever at the helm, so we'll see. But yeah, Cam's my pick for Comeback Player of the Year.
I saw the video of him dancing in Patriots camp.
Yeah, I've no idea what that was about. He needs to stop doing that.
That's a bit different to any other Patriots camp. Someone's having fun.
Yeah.
That's why Tom Brady left. Maybe if they were allowed to dance, Tom Brady would still be there.
He can't dance.
You see Tom Brady busting out some moves in practice?
No.
Yeah, Tom Brady's like me, big stiff idiot.
I reckon he could do it. You know what? I don't like the orange on them Buccaneers practice uniforms.
No, I know what you mean.
I
quite like the kit though. It was a decent new kit they've got.
But Cam Newton's weird one. I think they're just I think they're trying to get Justin Fields next year.
Yeah.
So they're just getting a mobile quarterback this year to sort of learn how it might work.
It might work well. Like I say, it might work well for Cam because they may simplify it a lot, make it very simple, make it a lot more easier for him to digest. And don't get me wrong, I don't think MVP Cam will ever play in the National Football League. I don't think he has that in him anymore. But we could see a lesser version of it. Who knows? Depends what type of hits he's taking, because he might not even play the whole season.
I think was it in Cam's first few years they actually they simplified his playbook over at Carolina.
Yeah.
And that's probably the best Cam Newton that we've seen them first few years.
Yeah.
Since then, so I don't know whether they started adding more complex stuff. But the Patriots have always been a complex system.
Took a big toll on Cam.
Yeah.
I mean, last year was just a bit weird because he was playing and then he clearly wasn't right because he started the season and then he was sort of out injured, but yeah. We'll see.
The dude's never been right since he didn't dive on the fumble, and I will forever say that.
Yes, it was never a good look for him, that. Because it popped up not so long ago. I felt like it was circulating around. Yeah, it was never a good look, that.
Yeah, so we've got one Cam Newton at Comeback Player of the Year. Paul?
I had him at 2. It was my second one. I don't think you need to simplify much for Cam Newton. He's a pro. He's been around the league long enough. What you might have to do is call plays that suit him.
Yeah.
Just build your offense around him.
The offense to him.
Yeah, it's because we have this thing, don't we, where we say simplify, but really it's down to the offensive coordinators to call plays that suit what their quarterbacks will do. I mean, look at Lamar Jackson. You stuck him in the Patriots. You might not do it, but they got Greg Roman there, and he's just built everything around him. Everything is done to help him flourish, and they've made him the focal point, and off he goes. Yeah. I considered as well perhaps Matt Stafford, but I don't think Detroit will do well enough. You've got Trent Williams, but he's not a skilled player, so I think he'll go really well for the 49ers. But I think the one that will have a massive impact on his return is Big Ben. I just think he will. They were quite poor last year, but it was mainly due to the trouble at quarterback. If he's 75%, he's going to go really well, and the Steelers are right back in it.
Yeah, the guys they had at quarterback last year were poor quarterbacks, like not even worth being, like the backups at best. All those guys they had starting last year, and that was a very good team. And like you say, if he can come back and elevate it slightly, the Steelers are going to be a tough team to play next year.
If he comes back at 75%, he elevates it massively. The fella's a winner, and has been a winner since he arrived. He's really good. I really rate him.
Yeah. Again, I don't think I'm as keen on Big Ben. He's fun to watch, but I don't think I'm as keen on him as some people are. I think his days are limited in the NFL now.
Oh God, yeah, he's 38.
I know, but the game's moved away from him massively. I mean, he's got his ring. He's very well accomplished.
He's a Hall of Famer,
really.
We'll see.
We'll see.
It's all opinions, isn't it? All opinions. I think Roethlisberger and you both go really, really well this year.
It always, to be fair, the comeback player of the year is always someone you least expect. Like no one sat last year and said Ryan Tannehill will win comeback player of the year. No one would have said.
There's a reason for that, though, isn't there? A massive reason for that. I mean, to come back, you've really got to have been quite good in the first place.
Yeah.
He did.
I feel like Ben's
really
going to throw it Marcus Mariota. He's going to steal the job off Derek Carr and take the Raiders to the playoffs.
I did think about it at one point because obviously we don't know how much John Gruden actually likes Derek Carr. It doesn't seem like their relationship is great at the best of times.
They're to end together, are they?
Well, let's put it this way. I think they can get out of his contract at the end of this season. So if they're not looking to extend it properly now, they're probably not ready, are they?
No. Maybe at home for Aaron Rodgers.
Could you really see Aaron Rodgers in Las Vegas?
Yeah.
It'd be interesting.
I could see Aaron. I'd love to watch Aaron Rodgers under Gruden.
Yeah,
I think that would be fun.
It'd obviously be an aging Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
but we'll see what happens.
He's still got it.
But I think Aaron Rodgers has got. I think it's 2 years before they can probably trade him without having to swallow loads of that huge contract.
Yeah, maybe they timed it right with Jordan Love. Who knows?
Yeah,
they were trying to repeat what they did with Rodgers and Favre, aren't they? That's all.
Yeah.
Draft him a couple of years early, sit him, let him watch, no pressure. I mean, a lot of teams will go for the very cheap rookie quarterback and try and build around them while they're cheap, but they're going the different routes. The old routes, the old draft you and stand over the clipboard for a couple of years.
I mean, obviously, Green Bay is the only small market team still around, and they don't have an owner. They're publicly owned, so it's always a bit weird whatever goes on in the organisation.
Mm.
But yeah, so we've got a Cam Newton, we've got a Ben Roethlisberger. I'm going to change. I have two. My first one. I say the stairs have to align, and I'm saying week one that Dak Prescott throws 4 picks in the first quarter because he's too busy raging about his $35 million contract that he didn't get.
Nurses out of bed again.
Making stupid videos with Dude Perfect over the past week, just throwing one ball. Nah, maybe try and get better. Right. Andy Dalton is going to be a comeback player of the year.
The Red Rifle.
The Red Rifle.
Dak's going to have to be arrested and sued for that to happen.
Yeah. I don't know. Let's call him the Blue Bomber. He'll change his hair for Dallas.
If he started all 16 games within that system, then he'd have a really good chance of being comeback player of the year. but he's not going to play.
And
he's not going
somewhere. He's going to be Taysom Hill. He's going to be the next Taysom Hill. How about that one?
No, he's just not.
He's starting at tight end, doing some blocks, Andy Dalton.
He's big enough.
Maybe that's where Big Ben can play this year, and that's where he'll get comeback player of the year.
He played the end, can't he, or tight end?
Yeah.
Massive.
That matchup, him versus Gronk, would be something to watch. Yeah, I do have a slightly more serious one that's quite practical. Is Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
Obviously, coming off quite a low point, and missing a lot of the season. I've said multiple times I like the Cleveland Browns this year to actually do a bit better, and for them to finish second in their division and maybe just edge out a playoff spot. But Myles Garrett's still a great defensive end. He can still get multiple sacks, and I think coming off the low point and people sort of, he's lost a lot of stock from that incident.
The only issue I'd have with that is, has he gone away enough to be a comeback player? Because, okay, he got banned because it was a bit ridiculous clubbing somebody over the head with your lid. But I think he had a pretty reasonable season up until that point.
Yeah, it just goes back to what they decide to vote for.
Yeah, criteria. If he fits the criteria,
a really good year that he's in defensive, player of the year category. And then it's like, oh, we can't give him that because he's not quite reached the level. But there's a good award for him. I don't know. Maybe there's a thing that says you have to miss X amount percentage of the season. But I'm not aware of it.
I'll see if there's any specific criteria.
Well, we might have to reshoot this if there is.
Third time lucky. No, I'm sticking to Cam. Cam missed most of the year.
Yeah, he does. Roethlisberger missed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most wins, Chad Pennington. I didn't know that one. There we go. That's just yeah, it doesn't say there's any specific criteria. I think you just have to.
No, I think it's just a feeling that people have.
Yeah. Maybe it's someone that you didn't really think of as an award winner and a good talent the year before, or at some point, and then you.
I think the criteria is they have to have been someone for some reason went away, whether it was a loss of form or an injury, and then came back.
Yeah,
because otherwise you're a breakout player, aren't you? If you've never done it.
It's normally injured guys in it. They have a year out, ACL, come back and hit the ground running type thing.
Gronk's somebody who could do it. Probably won't.
Yeah. I would hate it if Gronk did it, because if Gronk did it, then the Bucks are going to be in, and I don't want the Bucks to do
it. Moving on to the big award of the year, we've got to go MVP. I'm picking Russell Wilson for mine. I've argued multiple times, best quarterback in the league, insanely accurate. He steals everyone's eyes. I don't know, he just wins games on his own, and that's something that you can't deny.
And Seattle are going to go really well this year. You know that they don't face a top 10 quarterback all season.
They fucking Jared Goff twice a year, though, don't they?
As I said, they don't face a top 10 quarterback all season. So they're going to be right in the eye because they're going to win a lot of matches. So, yeah.
I like Russell Wilson. I put him at clear number 2 quarterback in the league. For me, I think he's pretty comfortable in that position. It's crazy to think he's been in the league sort of playing as well as he has so long and never won an award like this. It would be outrageous to think that he may. I think he will win one, but it would be outrageous if he never did. You just have to have an exceptionally good year to win MVP. It's unless your sort of name's Tom Brady, then he just gets it when it's a so-so year and everyone else has been not quite good enough. But yeah, he needs to elevate it. He needs to do something different. He needs to have a lot of rush yards, or he needs to pushing high in the TD columns and not so much yards, but them as a team need to be up near the 1 seed, I think, as well. To be.
I think for considering looking at last year and his wide receiver core wasn't like too strong, and obviously DK Metcalf is going to look a lot better this year than he did last year. He looked great at the end of the year, but and then Tyler Lockett's always going to be his shifty sort of slot receiver, and he might put up some bigger numbers than he has done in the past.
Yeah, they're moving massively towards an offensive-led team.
Yeah.
The Legion of Boom is well and truly, it's on its last player. If you count Bobby Wagner himself, but the defense isn't great now, and it is purely Russell Wilson's team, and they are shifting towards more of an offensive-minded team.
It's an arms race, isn't it? If you want to beat Kansas City, you're going to have to put up a lot of points.
Yeah.
So that's what we're getting into now at the moment, because an offensive team.
Not many teams in the league at the minute can stop Kansas.
So you've got to outscore them. If you want to beat them, you're going to have to outscore them.
Yeah, but that's my pick. MVP Russell Wilson. So, Paul?
Yes. I mean, I really like Lamar Jackson, and I know it's really hard to back it up and go again. But very talented offense, not really lost anyone, added to it. Offensive coordinator who knows how to call plays for him, really, really good. I'm going to do a Ben and have a little bit of a left fielder one, though, which is my backup one, which is the one I'd probably put money on if it was going to, because you get better odds. And I just think his side, they just, in skill positions on offense, they just got loads with Beckham. They've got Landry, Nick Chubb, a couple of very good tight ends.
Is he going where I think he's going?
I'm going. They've got a proper coach now, haven't they? Stefanski's there, isn't he? He'll sort it out. I just think that he's going to have a really big season. Whether it's an MVP, but if you've got a tenner, you're going to get quite good odds on that, and he's going to put a lot of passing yards up this year. Plus, the defense isn't great, because you've got to look, because the defense isn't great. They're going to have to score a lot of points to win games, so they're going to push the ball, aren't they?
Yeah, and you've still not said his name, Paul.
I find it hard to say Baker Mayfield.
My MVP is an actual good quarterback. He's, for me, best player in the league, or top two, if we're talking Aaron Donald. Patrick Mahomes, number one quarterback. I think he was on course, not on course to win it, but he started out hot last year, first 4 games. Obviously got injured. He came back a little bit sluggish, but it didn't matter in the end because they got the ultimate prize in January. Like I say, I think he's the best quarterback in the league. He'll put up ridiculous numbers again. Their offense has only got better. Paul's already mentioned the draft pick they took, Edward Hiller in the first round. It's just like a pure luxury pick for them.
Yeah.
McCall Hardman's got another year in the system and looks like a player. Travis Kelce's still knocking about. It's showing no signs of slowing down. The only thing that Patrick Mahomes possibly has against him is he's set such high standards for himself, and if he doesn't reach them, then he's not had as good a year. Even if it's an outrageous season, it's not quite what he did 2 years ago. I believe that's maybe what's hindered Aaron Rodgers over the last few years. Maybe not last couple of years, but throughout his career, because he's set such high standards for himself, when he has had slightly down years where he's not hit those heights, it's seen as a poor year, even though he's playing at the best, at a level that no one else was. But as a QB, I can't see, for me, Pat position, the MVP's on QB. So yeah, Patrick Mahomes for me.
Yeah, I still can't believe that the most sensible person with NFL things has just picked Baker Mayfield to win an MVP award.
Technically, I didn't pick him to win it. I just said he'd be notable, and I think he's in the shouts. As you say, I didn't put him in for the Comeback Player of the Year award.
He's also immediately just like denied that he's done it.
No, I said I'd risk a tenner on it because you get good odds. I do think Lamar Jackson stands the best.
Give me a tenner, Paul. I'll give you odds. What odds do you want? I'll give you them. You give me a tenner and I'll pay you if you want.
Just give me a house, the odds I want for that.
Yeah. Give me a tenner and I'll be booking.
Oh, will you put him up when he's homeless, Ben?
Yeah.
Just bought a house for a tenner.
Absolutely no way Baker Mayfield. I've said this before, I've said it in previous episodes, and I felt the same way about the Browns last year. I've still not seen it. Browns are still not a good team, and
they've got to do it.
When I see it, fine, but I've not seen it. I feel the same way about the Arizona Cardinals. There's a lot of hype around these teams.
But they're only in the first year of the window, Arizona.
Oh, yeah, I know. But people are talking about them like they're going to knock off the 49ers. And like, they've got a long way to go in that NFC West. For me, they're still the poorest side. But maybe I've got rose-tinted glasses as a Rams fan.
The third worst side.
No, the Rams.
The Rams are below them at the moment.
This is what's annoying me. I've just read an article. It is frustrating me because I think of people. As people forgot that Sean McVay is not one of the best coaches in the league. Like Sean McVay's not had a losing season since he's been with LA. Trust me, we'll be all right next year. We'll be all right.
He always gone.
Next bit, Ben. Next bit.
He's still going.
Move on.
I thought it'd be easy, but that was just the easier than
Sorry, Luke. That wraps up our awards segment and our predictions anyway for the awards. At the end of the year, I suppose. Before I go on to my next little segment, I'll just say that next week we're going to start covering the Bandits Fantasy Football League. Starting with, we're going to show you some clips from our draft. Hopefully, some funny moments. Like last year, someone taking a tight end first overall. Still baffled. But yeah, so
me selecting Baker Mayfield with the first pick.
You have to now.
Yeah, Paul's first selection.
Baker Mayfield ain't on your team. I'm going to be disappointed.
Go and get your guy, Paul.
I mean, first overall pick is yours truly. So,
who are you picking, Ben?
I'm picking my pick for the offensive player of the year. I'm picking Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
I
don't think there's a question about number one being this year. I think I think it's McCaffrey and then a gap.
Yeah,
I think 2, 3, 4, 5 is a really. I feel like every league for those 4 picks will have a different order. Thousands of them, but a lot of leagues will have so many different sort of orders.
Yeah.
Because there's just so many different options, and there's no clear number 2.
I think I got lucky last year. I didn't do insanely well in the league, but before we did the draft, my was stood outside, and my brother goes to me, I think Lamar Jackson might be an okay pick this year. So I picked Lamar Jackson before him. I was 1 spot above him.
1 spot above him, and you stole
it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why you can't talk to people. Like, it's all right saying who you're going to pick.
It's all right if you're first overall, but
I'm keeping my cards close to my chest, not letting anyone into my thought process.
I'm not touching a QB till round 5 at the earliest.
Round 5?
Baker at 1.
Baker Mayfield is still going to be there, so
Baker the first. Baker
The
will still be
difference-
knocking about in the 15th. Paul, you can just get in there. Yeah,
I'll trade you the first
An elite
overall pick
quarterback
if
with
you
it.
promise to pick Baker.
would you pick Paul? What's your position?
Actually, I think I'm fifth. I'm just
wow.
thinking. You'll give me the first overall pick if I pick Baker.
No, you have to pick him first overall. I'm
Because
also
I
going
was-
back on this. This is a joke deal. Paul.
Right. Okay. Because I thought I saw. I won't get him in.
Paul's writing
Okay.
up the contract.
Save it all. Save it all for next week. So my little segment to close it off this week. I've compiled a short list. I've got the top 5 players in the league who anger me the most. So let's get pumped for this. So we've got number 5, Dak Prescott. Already touched on him already. Maybe try
Did
getting
you like
better than standing out in the sun and breaking your little bubbles. Go and making videos with Dude Perfect.
I'm
Get
curious,
better,
Ben,
earn your contract.
when did your hate of Dak start? Like, have you just hated him in the last sort of year since the whole contract thing, or did you hate him prior to that? I don't mind Dak.
I didn't
I'm not a
think
lover.
it was, I think my hate started. I didn't think he was elite. I know that. I think that was there was a lot of talk a few years ago about Dak being elite.
He got a lot of hype early on for
Yeah.
his rookie year.
I was adamant that he wasn't. And then I think when the whole contract thing did start, I think that's when it really sparked up. I thought, there's I mentioned in my own video, there's 2 quarterbacks that I'd pay 35 million and upwards, and that's Russell Wilson and Patrick Mahomes. And you really can't compare.
Well, I already said top 2, aren't they? They're in a league of their own, so no, I agree. No one should be getting money like that. But that's just the way the QB market goes. It resets itself every couple of years because guys get paid more money.
I think this 1 year, this is his franchise tag, so I think he's going to be on like 28 mil a year. I think that's a good spot for him to sort of prove himself. But like I said, it's that he angers me, so let's not start rewarding him. You're trying to turn me on this one, Luke, and I don't like it.
That's a dick.
It doesn't bother me as Dak Prescott. He's just the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, and they just all anger me.
My only hate of Dak Prescott is that he's in the same draft as Jared Goff, so they're constantly compared. We'll not go into who's better. Mate, if you want to know who's better, go and watch the top 40 QB list.
Spoiler alert, Paul, you're number 1.
Mooney off 40.
I mean, he got 40.
Behind Jared Stidham.
Yeah. So, Dak Prescott, number 5. You need to play better and show what you're worth rather than demanding money that I don't think you're worth. You have 2 playoff appearances. Number 4 is Jalen Ramsey. The trend is obviously arrogant players so far. I think Jalen Ramsey has just irritated me in the sense it was 2017, 2018, and yeah, you were good, top corner in the league, and he probably can reach that level again. But show me, don't just act up. Show what you're worth, actually play, and carry a team on your back. If the team's losing, then you've got to be that cornerstone. The Rams have traded 3 draft picks for you. You can't just sit around doing nothing next year.
Yeah, it is a big year for Ramsey. I know what you mean. He does chirp up a lot. It's just that arrogance of being elite at his position and one of the best cornerbacks in the world. I know it's so stupid to say it because it's only really a country that has that level of performance. But he's not the top corner in the league at the minute. I'd still put him in that top 5 bracket, but maybe you're right. Maybe he's still talking like he's number 1.
I think the chirps I can handle. I think it's more of a you're supposed to be sort of the face of. He was supposed to be the face of the Jacksonville defense, and when things started going wrong, he didn't show up. It's like he vanished.
He actually said on Hard Knocks that getting traded to the Rams was the best day of his life. So he obviously wasn't very happy in Jacksonville.
But we'll see where it goes. Number 3 is Odell Beckham Jr. I've made this point off the show to Charlie before. I think he's not even the best receiver on his team. I think Jarvis Landry is a better receiver in all aspects. He's the person who's going to get 100 catches a year, and he's going to get the yards. He might not get 10 touchdowns and all the flashy one-handed catches, but he's actually going to carry a team. Whereas I don't think I've seen that leadership from OBJ. I never saw it in New York when he was supposed to be, again, the face of the franchise, which is something that I'll look for in a lot of people. I think that's why I like Russell Wilson so much. But yeah, I think he had one great catch that made him a star, and he's never looked back. He's never thought he needed to improve since then. And that horrible boat trip in 2013 was just...
Yeah, that wasn't a good look. I like Odell. I don't like him so much as a person. I know where you're coming from there. He's sort of very arrogant and he's not backed it up for quite a number of years. But I definitely think he is capable of being a number 1 wide receiver in the league. I think he has those attributes, and he could definitely reach that level. But right now, this minute, he is not close to that group.
Yeah. So OBJ at number 3, and I think number 2 will be the one that most people agree with. Michael Thomas.
Yeah, he's dead. I hate Michael Thomas.
Keyboard warrior. So what? You made 140 something catches. You've never done it before. You run 30 slants a game and get targeted 500 times a game. It's not great. Show me that you can do even what I think Odell Beckham Jr. is a better player than Michael Thomas. By far. I think you've been gifted with one of the best quarterbacks that's ever been around, and you're just going to run slants and somehow you're happy with it. There's better receivers that don't get anywhere near enough attention that he does. According to Madden, he's the best receiver in the league. So, and
he's definitely up there. He's showing up recently, but yeah, I'm not a fan of Michael Thomas. Like you say, he's a keyboard warrior and he's been big.
Number 1, I think this is the one that actually the person who annoys me like deep down is Aaron Rodgers. It's my number 1. Aaron Rodgers angers me just due to the fact I think he should be the best quarterback in the league. And a few years ago, I truly believed that. He's given up. I don't think he cares about football. I don't think he wants to play in Green Bay. I think he wants to go and play golf or whatever he wants to do in his off time. I don't think you can have someone in your own system who is so willing to call out other teammates, call out coaches, call out the media, call out everyone when something goes wrong. And anyone who says that he doesn't have anything to throw to, he's got Devontae Adams. A lot of people don't have a Devontae Adams. I can't get my head around it. I think he led the league in throwaways for the past 2 years, and there's clips where Devontae Adams is triple covered. It's like, so clearly there's someone else open on the field. Why are you throwing it away?
He has had a massive chip on his shoulder from day one, Aaron Rodgers. The whole 49ers thing, and then he went to Green Bay, and then the sort of the rookie year and the year sort of a couple of years after with Brett Favre and that relationship. So yeah, he's I know where you're coming from. Again, he's sort of got an attitude of adult Kerr, and it's not always something you want from quarterback. Like you say, for a franchise.
Yeah. Let's put it this way: everyone's biggest grief with Jay Cutler was the fact that he didn't care. Now, I'm not saying Jay Cutler was anywhere near as good as Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
But why isn't everyone's grief with Aaron Rodgers the fact that he doesn't care?
Probably because he's good, so he gets away with it.
It's time that we stop that.
He's carried that team for so long. Like, that team, they've had some shit teams, Green Bay. And he's taken the playoffs and NFC Championship games. I think that's probably why, in a way, he probably looks over at teams like the Patriots and Kansas and the Saints and all these teams that have these great coaches who scheme up and have innovative plays and attack the trade market, attack free agency, depending on how they feel about drafting. Whereas in Green Bay, they've always just sort of like let him get on with it. And I mean, maybe that's why he's not happy.
I think he is still that California kid who didn't get drafted by his favorite team.
Yeah, he's still there. I still think that eats away at him, probably.
I think it still eats away at him, and I think now in his career, I think he's given up on Green Bay, and I think he wants his shot with one of like the big franchises.
He wants to do a Brady. He wants to have the last year or two somewhere else.
I think he wants his shot with, the sort of the 49ers of the league, or maybe even I've seen a few Dallas Cowboys rumors.
Yeah, well, the Jordan Love draft pick hasn't slowed that rumor mill down. It's either lit a fire under him, and we're going to see MVP Aaron Rodgers, and we're all going to look daft for not saying his name, or we're going to see Aaron Rodgers who really doesn't give a shit and wants out.
I mean, if it's crap, then we can call him for comeback player of the year for 2021. So
yeah, always a chance in Vegas with Gruden.
Yeah, so top 5 players that anger me: Dak, Ramsey, OBJ, Michael Thomas, Aaron Rodgers. Sort your shit out.
I'd like to know Paul's top 5. I know we can't do it now, but Paul, I think you should think of your top 5, because I don't feel like you have a lot of hate in you.
When we have you should do it for next week, and when we have time in between draft picks, we'll just ask you.
Yeah, just chirp up and be like, Paul, is you hate?
Players who do stupid things, like have bags of talent and get arrested, they annoy me more than anything. The other stuff. No, Baker's great.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to like and subscribe for more content from us, and check out all of our social media links down in the description: Spotify, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Remember to watch all the other content on the Bandits Show, and see you next time.